Hello.
Will the following student please come to the front
Hang
office?
on.
Gabriela.
So many announcements. Okay, so in this video, we are going to review proportions. As usual, page numbers in your notebook will be up above this video. And in this video, I am going to remind you how to solve a proportion, and then I am going to look at each problem with you to give you a little bit of guidance. I've discovered that I think that that probably works the best for you. So if we're on our modules page and we scroll down, we're going to click on proportions. We're going to get into the quiz, and then this first question here is going to remind me what a proportion looks like, and hopefully then when I look at my notes, it'll jog my memory a little bit better what they're looking for. So if I make this really big, this is the page in our notebook where we learned how to just solve a basic proportion, which is what you guys are seeing on this first problem. Ooh, let's get a grip, teacher. Okay, so when we have a proportion like this, the key here is we are going to cross multiply the numbers that are diagonal, and we are going to divide by the leftover number. So your first proportion, let me just verify where the variable is. It is in the top right. So I'm just going to make one up for us to practice. We can say something like 3 over 5 equals x over, let's go, 45. And if we want to solve this proportion, we always cross multiply the two numbers that are diagonal, divide by the leftover number. So what I would plug into my calculator is 3 times 45 divided by 5. I would plug that all into the same line on my calculator. 3 times 45 divided by 5. Hit enter. That answer would be 27. So when we see one like that on our quiz, the very first one says 2 over 9 equals x over 13.5. I am going to cross multiply 2 and 13.5, divide by 9. So into my calculator, I'm going to plug in 2 times 13.5 divided by 9. I plug that in, 2 times 13.5 divided by 9, and I get 3. So on my quiz page, I'm going to plug in x is 3. Now this one, the x is in a different position. So this time it is 3 over x equals 6 over 10. So for this one, I'm going to cross multiply 3 and 10, and then I'm going to divide by 6. So loud out in the hallway, so annoying. So plug that into your calculator, and then that's what you will plug in for this x right here. Once you get down to C, or not C, D, but on C, even though there's a 1 here, you do it exactly the same. You're going to cross multiply, then divide by the leftover. On D, when you do it, you get a decimal. You get like 5.625 or something like that. That's not the answer, but you get one that looks like that. Just plug all of the decimal, the whole number that your calculator gives you into that x value there. So it doesn't matter that it's a decimal. So that is question 1. Question 2, we have to hop back up to our, or I should say hop up to our scale unit. And we did problems like this on page 108. And the one in our quiz is similar to this map one. The distance between the starting point and the finishing line of the Boston Marathon is given. If the scale is right here, then what is your actual distance? So the reminder from the notebook is that we always put our scale factor in the first ratio. So I am going to make up a problem that is similar to this number 2, and then if you and then afterward you should be able to do this problem. You might not need the example though, so if you don't need the example, just try the problem and then skip forward in the video. I'm going to pause just for a second so that I can close my door. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. Lots of interruptions. Okay, so I'm just going to say the scale on a map, and I'm making this one up, is 1 inch equals, let's go 5.8 miles. And then I'm going to switch over to my doc viewer so you can see what I'm doing. So if there is a distance on the map that is, let's say, 1.5 inches, how far is this in real life? So you have this information in this problem. You have the scale, and then you have the distance on the map. So here's how you set this up. Equal sign, 2 lines. The scale always goes in the first ratio. So this is going to be 1 inch over 5.8 miles. They tell us that the distance on the map is 1.5 inches, and I know that goes in the top because it's inches to inches. So I want to know how many miles that is. So to solve this, I would multiply 5.8 times 1.5 divided by 1. So 5.8 times 1.5 divided by 1. I get 8.7. That's 8.7 miles. So I would just enter into Canvas 8.7. I wouldn't put the miles. So your problem is in feet. Your problem is in feet, not miles, but you do this exactly the same as what I just set up. Your scale is right here. That goes in your first fraction, and then the distance on the map says 2.75 inches. So just to reiterate, you're going to set this up exactly like this, except for you put in the information in your problem instead of this information. Question 3 is going to be similar, but it's going to try to trick you. So I, as usual, am just going to make up a problem on my own, and then it'll be similar to this one, and you will solve the one on the Canvas quiz on your own. If you don't need this, then you don't need this. So let's say that LeBron James's shoe, and I'm making this up. These numbers are made up. But let's say LeBron James' shoe, very good at this draw. Here's his shoelaces. There's his big old foot. This is a shoe.
Granite Park staff,
So
if
annoying.
you are still at the building before
I can't help but be so annoyed. Okay, this is his shoe. We want to make like a Barbie out of LeBron James. So his real shoe, let's say his real, or no, actually, let's say that this is the Barbie shoe. LeBron James Barbie shoe. Let's say the shoe on the Barbie is 15 millimeters high and 50 millimeters long. So this is the model. If we use a scale where 1 millimeter equals 1.75 inches, what is the length, or how long is LeBron's real shoe? So first of all, we need to write a ratio with the scale as the first fraction. So I'm going to zoom out because I'm running out of room. So we're going to say equal sign, 2 lines, and we're going to put this scale in the first fraction. 1 millimeter is 2.75 inches. But the key here is that they want to know how long the real shoe is. Well, this problem often confuses you guys because they give you the length and the height. But we don't care about the height. They have given us both dimensions to try to confuse us, and we are not going to be confused. So it turns out I can completely ignore this number because all we care about is the length. So I'm going to put 50 millimeters right here, question mark in the bottom. So if I want to know how long LeBron James' real foot is, I would cross multiply and then divide. So this would give me 2.75 times 50, which is 137.5 inches long, which is very unrealistic. Let me see how many feet that is. 11 feet. So I obviously have not made a great problem here, but the idea is the same. So when you enter this into your problem, you can do it without units. But back to the actual problem, you're doing the same thing. They give you the scale right here. They want to know how long the real semi is. So you don't need both of these numbers. You ignore one. You fill the scale in right here where it is on my fraction, and then you put the other number in that they are interested in and solve for the last piece. So hopefully that is helpful. This last question is really quite challenging. So the last question says, I can walk at a rate of 1/4 mile in 1/6 of an hour. At this rate, how many minutes will it take me to walk a mile? So this is the issue here. They want me to find out how many minutes it's going to take me when really they give me the information in hours. So I'm going to change this up a little bit but use numbers that are the same. And then once again, you can use my setup to solve the problem. So let's change it to I can walk 1/3 of a mile in 1/4 of an hour. So 1/3 of a mile in 1/4 of an hour. They want to know how long for 1 mile. So this is what this would look like. Equal sign 2 lines. And we would put 1/3 mile over 1/4 of an hour. They want to know how long it takes me to do 1 mile. So this is X. To solve this, I cross multiply 1/4 and 1 and divide by 1/3. So what I'm plugging into my calculator is 1/4 times 1 divided by 1/3. So 1/4 times 1 divided by 1/3. That gives me 3/4. But we have to be careful because this is 3/4 of an hour. Okay? Well, I need it in minutes. So I have to ask myself, how many minutes is in an hour? So the last question that we need to answer to get this right is, how many, minutes are in 1 hour? I'm giving you a second to think about that. How many minutes are in 1 hour? 60 minutes. So to get your final answer, you need to do 3/4 times 60. You need to do 3/4 times 60. You do 3/4 of an hour. Well, 3/4 of an hour is the same thing as 3/4 of 60 minutes. So we do 3/4 times 60. And my answer is 45 minutes for this one. So my work is messy, but this is how you're going to set it up for your problem. Instead of 1/3 here, you're going to put 1/4 mile over 1/6 hour equals 1 mile over x. You're going to plug this into your calculator. 1/6 times 1 divided by 1/4, and it's going to give you a fraction. And whatever fraction this is, you need to multiply it by 60 minutes. Whatever fraction you get here, you need to multiply it by 60 minutes, and that is what you enter in for your answer. Hopefully that helps. Love you guys. Please do good on your next quiz. Like, do this quiz, and then please, once you're done, move on to the next one if that's what we're supposed to be doing. Okay? Okay. Love you guys.